think last time I'm here is like a couple years ago. My name is William. I'm a founder and CEO of Tokopedia.
Okay, so just a quick offense, like who used Tokopedia here? Just raise up your hand.
Thank you.
Okay, so basically everyone. Okay, great. So no need for introductions anymore. Just to start with, like the humble beginnings, right? So could you just maybe walk us through what was your childhood background, and then how you and Leon decided to become founders of Tokopedia?
Yeah, so I was born and raised in a small city in North Sumatra. Very boring childhood. I'm introvert, so it's just not having so many friends during a kid time. I actually don't know how to ride a bike. I don't know how to swim. So my wife is sometimes joke to me, if like you don't live in internet era, you're really useless. So Leon also come from outside Java. He comes from Kalimantan, right? So in Indonesia with 17,000 islands, it's very difficult for Indonesia to build equal infrastructure across the country. So what happens if like you live in a small city outside of Java, usually you need to pay a higher price for any product that you can find in a metro city like Jakarta. And the selection of product is also very limited. And also, usually the parents save their whole life to send their kids to a big city like Jakarta. And then like me and Leon, when we build our career in Jakarta, then we don't think to go back to our home. And Jakarta is sinking now. Every year is sinking. So this urbanization is a big issue, and we see 10 years ago technology should be infrastructure to change that. So we built Tokopedia with a mission to democratize commerce through technology. And fast forward today, we have 6.4 million people start and grow their business together with Tokopedia. We're just having a new research come. 86% is actually new businesses. So people that do not have a business before, they start their first businesses with Tokopedia. Today we already reached 97% district in Indonesia, and 2 out of the 3 is actually be achieved in, if like you order any product, you will receive in the next 24 hours. And this year, since May, we are surpassing $1 billion GMV on a monthly basis. So this year we will contribute more than 1% of Indonesia economy.
Wow, congrats. Congrats. So I think one of the questions that our readers always want to know, right, is that in the last 10 years of Tokopedia, what are some of the foundations that, on hindsight, when you look back and you connect the dots, are some of the foundations that you set right from the very beginning?
I think number one is always build for the long term. So a lot of our decision is not for the short term, but it's really to think about what the long term should be. So for example, we do not, it's good that we are starting in Indonesia, then you can learn from a different market, US market, China market. But for example, China have this 11/11 as a shopping day. And this starting in Indonesia since 5 to 6 years ago. But we consciously decided that we shouldn't participate in that, because 11/11, actually 11/11 is my birthday. I was born in 11/11. So it's good, it's like, but 11/11 doesn't mean anything for Indonesia, right? So we actually decided to not build the platform as a discount platform. We think that our mission is to democratize commerce through technology. So what kind of services that we can provide for merchants? What kind of feature that we can provide so day-to-day Indonesian life to become easier? So this is a long-term thinking. You are not reacting to what the market decide to do. You are deciding your own playbook and your own game. And we're just starting our own shopping day 2 years ago, which is built towards Indonesian culture, which is we are the largest Muslim population in the world, Muslim democratic country in the world, and we launched our shopping day is actually the Ramadan Extra, which is basically the payday before the Ramadan holiday. When on the Ramadan holiday, people are going back to their hometown, and they usually bring some gift and all of that. So it's a very contextual, right? So like in US, you have Thanksgiving, Black Friday. That's very contextual. In China, you have 11/11 is a single day. So that's about thinking long term instead of short term. Second is all about the people, right? So and you need to treat people as a people, not people as numbers. And growing from a 2% to 5,000 persons now is all about invest on the people. Early days you are focusing on how, how to do things right. And then eventually, when you know how to do things right, you are start to thinking about what to do next. But the most important is actually to think about who. So if you invest on the people, the right who will identify what is the next what and figure out how to do that, right? So that's I think that a couple of things that we do right in the past 10 years. And I think the last one is like, I like to say this is the dream with your eyes open, which is what you dream, what you think, what you say, and what you do need to be consistent. And what we dream 10 years ago, what we think, what we say, what we do is always consistent. And it seems like it's easy to say, but to really do that 4 things consistently is not easy.
Very interesting. So it's been 10 years. You've been the CEO of Tokopedia for 10 years. So definitely, as the company grows bigger and bigger, how do you see, your role as a CEO change? And what are some of the challenges that you face? And what are some of the advice that you can give to many founders over here who are growing and struggling to be a CEO and at the same time keeping their company afloat?
Yeah, I think I'm very grateful that I faced so many obstacles and actually failed and actually learned from that. So like early days, my role is really to become a product person. And that's actually because I have full 24 hours to do what I enjoy to do the most, which is a product person. But eventually the company grew to become 300 people, thousands people, and then you start to have things that you need to do, meaning that you need to grow people, and then your day-to-day start to become having a lot of meeting with the government, media, and so on. And it's become a challenge because you don't know what you don't know. But I actually take all of that opportunity as a learning opportunity. Right? So I think it's good to fail because only by all that failure you really learn. Yeah.
So in the last 10 years, what has been the hardest decision, one of the hardest decisions that you have ever made? And maybe try to describe, give a little bit more color. What happened and what did you do?
About 1.5 years ago, we need to let go about 40 people at the same time. And that's because of our recent audit that time, figure out that these 40 plus people actually do certain things that not hold the integrity at best, right? So, and then we are having certain internal debate. If you let it go together, this will create a lot of chaotic situation because these also consists of engineers that is the most hardworking engineer in your company and so on. However, I think on the integrity part, if you compromise once, you will always compromise twice. And our business is a business of trust. Tokopedia is a business of trust. And if you draw a certain line in the sands, if you decided you cannot cross that, then you need to lead by example. So that's very painful, very, very painful, but in the end we decided to let them go at the same time and just take immediate action of that. It's create a lot of internal moral issues, and then we decided to just deal with whatever after effect about that. It also will be a media information, and media can just portray us as Tokopedia have a lot of internal integrity issues, 40 people, right? So that also can stain our reputation. But we decided if we found it, we need to take action out of it. But in the hindsight, we do not regret anything about it because, again, for integrity, you cannot say something and then you do another thing, right? So if you compromise, we think that if we compromise that time once, we'll compromise it again. And a lot of that is actually things like that. A couple years ago, there's a protest in a Tokopedia office. And then we actually do not understand why they protest. And then we learned that this is actually paid protest. Right? So the kids, everyone is actually getting 50,000 to 100,000 Indonesian rupiah. If we want to deal with that, we can deal with also money, and that can solve it right away. But then we decided if we start to play that game, then we also cross the integrity line. So a lot of decision is about that. It seems like very hard to do during that time, but if like you reflect back, you're actually being very grateful of that.
Now I'm very curious, like who paid the students to protest?
You never know, right? You will never know, right? It's not students, it's just like
just
different and all that, right? So things like
could
that
you
will
make a
happen.
guess?
We cannot, right? So, and I think that rather than focus on who do that, actually at time gather the team and we share that Indonesia anyway is a country that by law, the protests still do not harm anyone individually because we are a country by law. And I say to the team and the leaders, we should be able to sleep best at night because we do what right for the country. We are helping to grow we try to democratize commerce through technology. We are trying to give equal opportunity to everyone in this nation to build and start their businesses. So we should be able to sleep best at night. This is all just distraction. So, and this will goes away. And eventually it will goes away, right? And all this, that kind of like when we fire 40 people, all these internal moral issues, eventually when people all reflect back, then when people learn from that. And it's not we are betraying our 40 nakamas, it's actually our 40 nakamas betraying us. So that, if like you can think on that way, then you can sleep at night.
So again, like Tokopedia has entered the 10th year, and you mentioned a lot about like the super ecosystem. Could you share with us like more? What do you mean by super ecosystem?
Because what we do today, we cannot do it alone. We do it by ecosystem play. Today, until today, Tokopedia do not sell any product by our own. We do not set our own store. We do not do the 1P or retail model. Any product that you buy in Tokopedia is sold by someone else. These are 6.4 million merchants. So that's ecosystem. We don't do our own logistic, right? So we partner with logistic partner. We are the first in the world that partner with the mobility company to provide same day and next day delivery. And we take proud of that. We think that we shouldn't do anything by our own. We shouldn't innovate everything by our own. We should innovate together with the ecosystem. Payment as well. We transform Minimart, Post Office to be our cash collection partners. We are working with multiple e-money company. We work with all the banks to accept bank transfer. We work with all credit card companies, so it's become ecosystem play. So that's what we imagine, that if like we want to democratize commerce through technology, we cannot do this alone. This need a collective effort. This need, and that's why how Tokopedia, even for merchants lending, consumer lending, we work with other fintech company. So there's always a part of collaboration that we are seek for. And if like we can build this super ecosystem, then we can really eventually fulfill our dream, which is to democratize commerce through technology.
So it feels like the super ecosystem is trying to focus a lot of things at the same time, right? So how do you actually maintain focus as a CEO?
Stick with your mission and the vision. So anything that we do, everything that we do is not go away from our root mission, which is to democratize commerce through technology, and our vision is to create an ecosystem where anyone can start and discover everything. So whatever that we do now, like so for example, a couple years ago we start to bring all these digital goods services, meaning that you can pay electricity bills, top up virtual games, and so on. That is still aligned with our mission and the vision. So it's like we are giving ATM machine to everyone. Now my father-in-law using Tokopedia for the first time is through these digital goods services. And then over time he start to trust the platform and buy stuff from a stranger. So, and that continuously evolve, right? So for example, digital goods services, this year we are partnered with Minister of Finance to connect 900 government services. So eventually you can actually extend your passport in Tokopedia and so on. This year we partners with West Java province to actually allow them to extend their vehicle tax. And to our surprise, the 7 months achievement, 7 months already until the July of 2019, already surpassed the tax collection of year 2018. So this kind of like removing barrier of entry is really, really helpful. Another innovation, for example, we see that financial inclusion and financial literacy is very low in Indonesia. So like last year we worked with Pegadaian, one of the SOE in Indonesia, to launch good investment. You can now invest starting from 500 Indonesian rupiah. So a lot of people from their high school or when they are in a school, they already learn how to invest. From a very small amount of money, if like they put it in the platform, after 2 weeks, 3 weeks, they start to see their money grow. So now they understand, oh, this is meaning by investment. We also do the money market fund, so a lot of innovation, and that all innovation is still root to our core businesses and also aligned with our mission and our vision.
How about like, can you share more a little bit about the Kami Baru Mulai campaign? Like, what is it all about?
So in the past couple of years, we start this campaign basically called Mulai Aja Dulu. We encourage people in Indonesia to not finding 1,001 reasons and excuse to fail. Just find one reason to start, because everything big start from something small. And this Mulai Aja Dulu campaign is not necessary only for merchants, but also for the customer. If like you want to start to have a healthier life, start now, start today. So that's about Mulai Aja Dulu. And then when we reach 10 years anniversary of Tokopedia, with a 1% of contribution to the Indonesia economy this year, we are asking ourselves where we are today. And then when we reflect back, me and Leon, we realized that it's like 10 years ago when we started Tokopedia, we are like seeing this mountain silhouette very, very far, and we are promised to each other, Leon, let's climb that mountain one day, so we can really be on the top and see the view. And then today, after 10 years, when we reflect back and we see, then we figure out now we are still just arrived in the base of the mountain. We haven't climbed that mountain yet, but now finally we can touch the mountain. And the funding that we got, like last year we raised $1.1 billion, that finally we have a tools. We have a proper tools to climb that mountain safely until to the top of that mountain. And now we have a team of 5,000 people. So there's a saying, old saying that if like you want to go fast, you go alone. If you want to go far, you go together. So we are very exciting about this time of our life. In the past 10 years, when we look back, we haven't achieved anything big from our mission to democratize commerce to technology. Only 1%. And if like you think 10 years back, we are only have people that shift their business to become e-commerce businesses. But if like we really want to democratize commerce to technology, we need to help anyone. Farmer and fishermen, they are not really benefit from the e-commerce today. But we should find a way to help them. My uncle in my hometown, he's a traditional pap and mom groceries warung toko kelontong, this pap and mom store. He doesn't get any benefit from e-commerce. So many jobs doesn't get benefit from e-commerce. Photographer and so on, not necessarily they are having a benefit from e-commerce. So for the next 10 years, we are trying to change our goal. How our vision we can be a technology company that help anyone in Indonesia be a technology company. No matter if like they're farmer, they're fishermen, they're toko kelontong, we can help upgrade their life. Doing what they do today, but using technology. So you will start to see a lot of our investment aligned with that. We already start to do our B2B businesses to have a physical store to upgrade themselves like a technology company. So they have a better supply chain, they have a better margin, they can restock on demand, they can restock now, pay later. So all of that financial services, demand prediction technology that we have, we provide them as an infrastructure as services. So that we imagine for the next 10 years. If we can do that, the next 10 years, Indonesia economy will grow from 1 trillion economy today to become 5 trillion economy today. So we ask ourselves, can we, as in Tokopedia, when Indonesia become the 10 trillion economy, really contribute not only 1%, but 5%? And can we, if like today Indonesia economy grow 5 to 7% year on year, because this is all new economy, can we actually create more jobs, new jobs? Can we actually create more opportunity in rural? Can we actually help people do reverse urbanization? So Jakarta is no longer sinking. you can start your business in Aceh and you can be nationwide businesses. We launched a new innovation called Tokopedia. This is basically like AWS but for warehousing, right? So today, if like you're doing business in Aceh, if your business starting to get big, you start to move your headquarters in Jakarta and Java, so you can be a nationwide businesses. Well, we think that is a wrong approach. You should be able to be a nationwide, even a global-wide businesses whenever you are, because technology already allow you to do that. So, for example, warehousing, you shouldn't have a physical big investment for that. You can actually rent our smart warehouses on demand. If like you only need a big, like this yellow box sizes, you should only rent this space. You shouldn't rent big spaces. And maybe you only need to do this seasonal. Only in a month of Q3, this product will sell a lot in Jakarta. So you should put that product in Jakarta only during that Q3, if like this is a seasonal thing. But in the Q1, Q2, you doesn't need to pay the rent for that. So we start to reimagine how we can actually transform Tokopedia not only as a technology company that help other people to do e-commerce, but a technology company that help everyone to become a technology company.
So it sounds like a lot of things that you describe feels, again, I could be wrong, it feels a little bit similar to Warung Pintar, right? So do you work with like Warung Pintar on some of the collaborations?
No, I think that's Warung Pintar is another retailer that is a new retail. It's a new model of retail. We don't brand it. We are just infrastructure play. So it can be like Toko Willis in Mangga 2, but the Toko Willis Mangga 2 is actually, you have actually a power to actually connect to the principal brand. You actually have access to financial services and so on. So you can restore on demand. So you have the same power like the big giants have. So that's what we dream of. We don't want you to attribute. So that's why the super ecosystem, you never see Tokopedia attribute anywhere, because we are just an infrastructure that empower. We let other people to build their own brand. We want to incubate so many future brands of Indonesia, and we think that they should eventually go listed and become a very meaningful company. If like you see Indonesia, in our grandparents' generation, we have so many great brands, from Jarum, Wings, to so many like Indofood and so many brands like Indomie. But our generation now, distribution is no longer issues. With the technology, everyone have access to distribution. Marketing become affordable. We should have millions of new brands actually growing because of this opportunity.
Right. So speaking about ecosystem, like very recently you Tokopedia acquired Bright Story. I'm not sure how much, maybe you can share with us. And then at the same time that Tokopedia invested in like several companies as well. So why Bright Story? How much do you pay for? And at the same time, what are your thoughts in terms of like acquisitions and investments?
Yeah, we always look for a company that share the same alignment of vision and mission, right? So why wedding and parenting platform? So Bright Story and Parent Story, because that the next evolution, we want to have any jobs and profession to become a technology company. And if like you see, any wedding businesses is a very local services. If you have a wedding in Balikpapan, you will need a catering from Balikpapan. You will need venue. You will need a florist from the Balikpapan. You need a photographer. You need a makeup artist. And all of that jobs is actually local services, and they touched by the technology. So that's very aligned. The product Parent Story, and I just recently be a parent, so that's also, I see that this will be helping piano teacher, music teacher, English teacher, any kind of like teacher to actually have a platform to connect to potential kids that want to learn something. So we see this as a Netflix for the offline activities for kids, and we are very exciting for this, right? We also acquire another company, but basically we see the founders. Kevin and Ashwin is our new partners, and Kevin and Ashwin now is both our VP. Is doing together. We are climbing that mountain together, which is to create an ecosystem where anyone can start and discover anything, to to democratize commerce through technology. So 10 years from now, we can contribute to at least 5% of Indonesia economy.
So in the spirit of like transparent data and help us to benchmark acquisition deals, like could you share how much you paid for Bright Story?
I think Kevin and all the shareholders is very happy. I think that is what important for us. As long as they are happy, not for the public information then.
Okay, so speaking of, we talk a lot about like product and expansion and vision. So I think recently in the tech space, there are a lot of like talks about building the company a lot more sustainably, being profitable. So maybe you could share with us like very quickly, is Tokopedia profitable? What is your cash burn? How much you have the runway? In terms of runway, what's your runway going to be like? And are you raising money?
Yeah, we need to be realistic. In the past 10 years, Tokopedia need to face all the global giants, a lot of global giants, and we know that the clock is ticking. So we need to raise capital to make sure that Tokopedia is actually have enough power chest to compete and to become a world-class company, represent Indonesia. And we consistently doing that. But if like you see how Tokopedia do that, we are actually not the most aggressive in the market that burn marketing dollar for promotion. We are utilizing the capital to actually invest in the right infrastructure, building the right platform, building the right ecosystem. And Tokopedia will be eventually like, if everything goes with plan, in the next year we will be EBITDA positive for sure. So we are planning for the pre-IPO and go public. So yeah, I think to my early point, since day one we are always thinking on the long term, not on the short term. So we are very happy with our progress so far.
Do you have any plans in terms of like when you're going to IPO?
Not necessary. We are very privileged that we have a very well-balanced shareholders. Alibaba, SoftBank, Sequoia Capital, all long-term investment, all long-term supporter. So we are not having a pressure to let the shareholders exit. We will do what right for the company and what right for the market.
I presume that it's very likely that you're going to raise more money to make sure that you get to the
No,
mission.
actually, I think that Tokopedia have the amount of money that we raise, we don't burn it for subsidy. We don't need to. And with the company will soon be EBITDA positive, we basically have capital for forever, right? And then what does it mean for that funding that we have? Is to invest in the ecosystem. If like we find something like a bad story and something that we think align with our mission and our vision, we can utilize that capital so we can achieve that faster. Imagine if like we just need to save our profit and revenue, and then after that we invest, that will be waiting for next decade and so on.
Okay, so just a couple more like maybe personal questions. So what are some of the books that you are reading right now?
Yeah, so I used to really a reader, and I miss to read book a lot. Now I cannot finish a book because every time I read a book 1 pages, my thinking is going anywhere. So I just like cannot multitask with that. So, but I changed the medium. I think that today we have digital medium. You have podcasts, you have a documentary in Netflix, you have, for example, in TED, people are sharing their wisdom, their experience, and that become the medium. So every time I actually taking shower, brush my teeth, do all of that, like packaging for my next business trip, on the cab, on the car, I actually listen to something. And no matter if like my brain thinking of something else, that source just goes on. So I maybe miss a bit, but it's not like a book. Like a book, you need to really visualize it. You need to process it. So you cannot do multitasking with thinking. But with like reading and so on is amazing. Like recently, I for example watched this. Even Bill Gates changed the medium, right? So it used to be someone like Bill Gates will pour all his wisdom and experience in a book. But now he shared that in a very short documentary in Netflix, just a 3 episode. And when I watched that, I actually learned something refreshing and actually inspired me. And actually we have a new product development cooking in Tokopedia today that I'm so excited, that just inspired by that toilet project by Bill Gates in the Netflix documentary.
Wow, very interesting. So just two more questions. So Tokopedia has been wildly successful. So obviously that has like made you into a very successful person. Like has that changed your life?
Maybe it used to be especially when I grew by humble family, because we don't have much money early days. Basically, the parents teach you to be money is more important than time. So, for example, if like you can save 500 Indonesian rupiah rather than take public transportation, you should do that, because 15 minutes walk or 13 minutes walk, you cannot earn 500 rupiah. So on the early days of Tokopedia, that become a very strong underdog tools. We don't have capital that time, but everyone have 24 hours a day. But now I think with the family and so on, I realized that you can eventually raise any capital that you want, but you cannot raise any time additional than 24 hours a day. So now it's really shifting. And I personally realized the most important things in the world is actually time. You cannot turn back time. You cannot gain more time. So you really use your time preciously and be extremely ruthless with your time.
Last question. So recently you became a dad. You have a newborn. So congratulations. So quick question, like how has that changed your work-life balance, your perspective, being now like a dad and a founder and a CEO?
I think work-life balance is non-existence, right? So if like you want to build something big, you eventually can only see for work-life harmony. Balance meaning that you need to remove something from scale, meaning that you need to sacrifice something. There's a saying that life is a constant game where you're juggling 5 balls at the same time, and that balls are work, family, friends, health, and integrity. And when you have kids, your kids should be your friends. And 4 out of these 5 balls are made by glasses, and only 1 ball made by rubber, which is work. You can fail on your job, you can find other jobs. But if you fail on your health, you cannot find another life. If you fail on your family, maybe you can start another family, but it will be different. If you fail with your kids, you cannot come back that time again. If you fail with your integrity, you're a failure for forever, right? The integrity part. So, but to do all of that, again, you need time. So I wish that when my kid grow up, he can be proud of his dad, that he's continuously walk the talk. He's a dream with the eyes open, and I can teach him to dream with your eyes open. Meaning what you dream, what you think, what you say, and what you do need to be consistent.
Okay, I think that's all. Thank you so much, William.
Thank you, everyone, and thank you, Willis.
Thank you, everybody. Thank you very much.
Thank you.